All right, so we completed our stock prediction service. Now we're going to work on the sentiment analysis, which we're going to determine the market sentiment surrounding a specific stock. So let's jump right into it. Welcome back, everyone. In this video, we're going to work on the stocks sentiment analysis. And what we're going to do, we're going to grab some information about a specific stock that we want to check the sentiment to see how people are feeling about a specific stock. Then there's many different places where you can get the sentiments. There is services that are specific to getting you the sentiments about a stock. So there are plenty API services that you can use. For our application, there's a great place that we can access data for free, which is from the Reddit API. So we're going to use the Reddit API. We're going to search for a stock that we want to get the sentiment from. We're going to grab some information from there, and we're going to send it over to our OpenAI API so we can get the sentiment and also get a prediction about the current stock. So let's get started. And if you're just jumping in, you can find the link in the description for the application. And you should grab the latest version, which is part 5. And then you can clone it. And after you clone it, you will have to run in the directory. You will have to run npm i. And then after you install the dependencies, you can run npm run dev. So we can run the server. Now there is a example env where we need to grab the API. So if you're just jumping in, we need to get a Polygon API in our OpenAI API, and we're going to sign up to Reddit together in order to get a new API for Reddit. So we're gonna do that in a second. First, let's work on setting up a page for the app. So let's go to localhost 3000 to look at the application. Now the application is running. We have the landing page here. We can go to advisor, and here we're going to get all the different services that we're going to build. We work on the stock prediction and getting the next day price, or the prediction of the next day price. Now we're going to work on the sentiment analysis. For the sentiment analysis, we are going to create a new folder inside of app. So right click in new folder, sentiment dash analysis. And inside of this folder, we're going to create a new file, page.tsx. This will create a new route, and this is the page that is going to be rendered in this new page route that we created. Here, let's have an export default function, and let's call this one sentiment analysis. And let's return main tag in here, h1 sentiment analysis for now. All right, so let's now, if we hover over this, let's double check what we call in the navbar. We have the different pages that or the routes. Or let's check, we are mapping over links, and links is coming from this here. So we have advisor, sign up, and login. So this is not the routes that I'm looking for. Let's go to, where is our prediction, sentiment, close this up. And then we can go to advisor here, page, and then here we mapping over services. So services is a data file that we're importing and mapping over here to render each service car. So let's go and take a look at that file inside of lib services data. And let's make this a little bit bigger here, hide the terminal. And now we can go to double check the route. So sentiment analysis, which is this one, should go to sentiment-analysis, and that is matching what we define here. So now if we click on that, it takes us to the page. We can see the H1, so we can close this. This is verified, everything is fine. And we can close this prediction page as well. Cool, so we can see the page. Now, let's see what we're gonna do next. So for the page, I don't want to work on too much of the JSX for now, because I want to focus on the fetching the data and getting the prediction first, and then we'll go back to the JSX and display the results. So at the top, let's mark this component as a use client, because we're going to need to import use state and the use effect hook from React. And we're going to go in here, call the use state, the use effect, and pass the function here and pass a empty array of dependencies for now. Skip that there. At the top, let's just do a const equals use state, and this is going to be a prediction that we're going to get back. So as of right now, let's just set it to no, and we're going to say sentiment result and set sentiment result. All right, that's where we're gonna put the data when we get it back. So let's keep it there. Now inside of the use effect, we are going to have to let's call so as of right now, I'm just going to set up a function in the use effect for now. So when we render the page for now, we're just going to call a fetch sentiment function. So let's do const let's say GetSentiment equals an async arrow function, and then here we're going to say let's do let's use fetch, and then we're going to actually let's just hold the, let's say we're going to receive a ticker, and it's going to be a string, and then we're going to use a sticker, let's say the apple symbol, and then we're going to call an action so we can fetch the actual data. So let's open up the actions folder. Let's create a new file. let's call it sentiment.ts or GetSentiment. So we can keep the naming convention from the top. GetSentiment. And I could split the logic to get the data from the Reddit API into another file, but for now I'm just gonna do everything here. But if you want to do that, you can do that as well. If now or after, that's fine. So for now, we're just gonna do everything in one file, and then we can refactor that. So in here, we're gonna mark this as a use servers because this is gonna be a handler. And in this function, we are going to call this one GetSentiment. So we're gonna do export. Let's just do export GetSentiment. Or let's do export function GetSentiment. This is going to actually the ticker is supposed to be passed to this function. Yeah. So we're gonna do ticker, which is the stock symbol. It's gonna be a string. And for now, we're just going to return ticker. And let's import this function back in here. So let's do import curly brackets and get sentiment from our actions folder, sentiment and get sentiment. And here we don't need the ticker just yet. Get sentiment. I don't think we need it here right now. Just delete it, and we're just gonna do const res equals await, and we're gonna call our get sentiment, which is expecting the ticker. So for now, let's just do a hard code AAPL for Apple, and let's see what it says. 0 arguments, but got 1. Get sentiment is waiting for 1. And then let's do const data equals await res.data or res.json. And then we're going to just console log data for now, the data that we get back when we set that up. So keep it here right now. Have it here. JSON does not exist on the void. Why is this not in get sentiment? Get sentiment. Return ticker. That's fine for now. I think it's just we have to continue working on this so it can everything remove these red squiggly lines. So get sentiment is assigned but never used. So let's just call this function here at the bottom and get sentiment. What's going on here? Get sentiment is clear, but the value is never run. Did I type this wrong? No. Get sentiment. Okay. This looks, oh, because we have the same name here. Okay, so let's just call this function. Let's just call this one fetch. Fetch data for now, because we're probably going to replace that later on with the handle submit later when we add the user interaction. So let's just call fetch data. That's why I was getting that weird message. So right now it fell. What is it? Get sentiment export default function. This error occurs during the process. Okay. Server action must be async functions. Yeah, I didn't mark this as async. Thank you for reminding me. Save it. What is this? Close that up. There we go. Okay, so now we have We can comment this out for now if we wanted to. Not really gonna use it at the moment. Right now, what is going on? REST.json is not a function. Yeah, because we need to return a promise. So let's remove this for now. And let's just console.log rest for now. Cool. So now if we go to the browser and we open up the console and we clear this up, refresh here, we get the Apple ticker back, because when we call the sentiment, we pass the ticker, and right now we're just returning the ticker back, and that's what we get. So cool. So now this, we're gonna keep it like this for now, so we can work on the action in here, the server action function, and then we're going to come back to the UI. All right, so it's time to sign up to the Reddit API. So now I'm going to bring over the website where you need to go. So head over to reddit.com/dev/API, and you will have to either log in or sign up to a new account. And it's a free account. You can use your current account or create a new account with a new email. That is up to you. So once you logged in, you're going to sign in, and then you're going to head over to this website. So reddit.com/prev/apps, so we can create a new application in the Reddit API. So here we're going to create another app. We're gonna call it AI stocks, and it's gonna be a web API. I don't think in here, but the only thing, we don't need a description about URL, but we need to set a redirect, which is going to be our localhost 3000 at the moment, because we're running in our local. If we deploy, then we have to change that to the deploy domain name, but for now, that's all we need to do, and click on create app. Now here, I'm going to show you my secret key, which I'll probably delete later because this needs to be private. All this information should be kept private. So we are going to need our secret and our web app in order to connect to the Reddit API. Now let's go into our environment variables. I'm going to go to the example one here, and I'm going to paste the new domain environment variables that we're gonna need. So these are the two previous ones from Polygon and OpenAI, but now we are going to have the Reddit web app and the Reddit secret environment variable. So as you can see, we're just going to copy this web app here, and we're going to paste it right here. And then we're going to grab the secret key, and we're gonna paste it in here. Right, in here you should have your other two API key values, but I have mine inside of the .env file. So I'm going to update these in my .env, and then we can continue with the application. All right, so I updated my .env file with those values. So this example, I'm just gonna delete it because this is gonna be pushed. Or maybe, no, I'm not pushing that. So you have to just follow the instructions here. So I'm going to get rid of this now. And now that we have these values, we're ready to connect to the API here. So now, let's see, the next step I want to work on is to head over to the GetSentiment action here. And at the top, let's just import what we need, which is going to be the OpenAI package here. And we're gonna need that in a bit. For now, we're going to work in here to set up the Reddit API. So the first thing that we need to get is a Reddit auth token. And we're going to request that first, and then with that token we're going to fetch the data that we need. So in here I'm going to paste an API, a domain that we need to access in order to get the token. Let me see. Let's see, we have, I'm gonna copy and paste that in a second, but first let's see, let's work on getting the token, because the first thing we need to do is to add those two values together that we have in the environment variable, so the web app ID and the secret. So we're gonna say cons of equals, we're gonna use a buffer in here to create a buffer from, and then here we're going to pass some backticks to say $, curly brackets, and then we're gonna use the process.env dot, and here we're gonna need the Reddit web app. So we're gonna say Reddit underscore web underscore app, and then we're gonna do colon. Here we're gonna do another $, curly brackets, and we're going to say process.env dot, and here we're gonna do the Reddit underscore secret, and then at the bottom here we're just gonna do come on, go down here, dot to string, and we're gonna say we want a base 64. All right, so this value we're gonna use it to generate the token. So we need to say const Reddit token, or let's just do Reddit response first, because we're gonna get a response, and then we have to get the token from the response. So we're gonna do equals await. We're gonna use fetch to pass the URL, and we need to say https:// and that is www.reddit.com/API/b1/access_token. Yep. And then we need to pass a comma here and pass the curly brackets to pass some headers to the request. We also need to set the method to post, and we're gonna set the headers to, we're gonna say content type, content dash type, and this is going to be of type application /x/dub dash form, and then dash URL encoded, and then we can set the authorization and then we're gonna set that to basic, and then we need to pass the our values to generate the authentication token here. Cool. So now in the body, we just need to set this to grant underscore type equals to client underscore credentials, and we're gonna do redirect underscore URL equals $, and then here we need to pass our redirect URL. So we didn't create a environment variable for this, but we should do it because that way we can just change it later on inside of our .env file, and if we deploy it in our production service. So let's do process .env redirect underscore URL redirect. And if we want to copy this from the link in the description, that's totally fine, because any typo here will probably mess something up. I just typing it out so we can see everything step by step, but this doesn't change, so you can just copy that real quick. Cool. So now that we're going to make that post request, and now we should be getting a response. So from the response, we are actually going to get in the, whoops. Oh, before we do that, we need to create this redirect URL inside of the example. We're going to do another one here. And right now, we're just going to do our localhost. I'm going to copy this. I'm just going to throw that in here. Sentiment analysis, no, just the 3000. That's all we need. Cool. And let me make sure I have that in my actual .env file, which is in there. Cool. That is updated now. So now that we have taken care of this environment variable, we can actually wait for the token. So in here, we're going to say token data. Oh, come on. Cons token data equals await Reddit response that JSON, and then we're actually going to say cons access underscore token equals, or not that underscore token here, camel case, and we're going to get that from token data that access underscore token. This one has to be underscore because that's how they spelled it in the response. So you can also console log the token data so you can see it in here if you want to take a quick look at that. Token data. And we can console log the access token as well. Just to confirm we're getting everything back from this API for now. So let's see in our terminal here. We are going to refresh the page. And now we have some undefined values here. So a message unauthorized 401, something is undefined. And let's see what that is here. Looks like I do have a typo here, which is instead of D here, I should have a B. So make sure you verify that in your .env file. So Reddit underscore web app, Reddit underscore secret, redirect underscore URL. You can put Reddit too, because you can have multiple redirect URL later on. So I'm gonna save that, and I'm going to refresh the page. And here we're getting the token. You can look at the response here, see what we get in the token, and the type of token, when expire, scope, everything. And this is the actual token, or the authorization token we're gonna use to actual fetch the data. So this is complete. I'm just gonna put something here. Cool. So now I'm gonna comment these out so I don't have too many console logs later on. And then down here is when we actually going to fetch the data. So we're going to, let's do a quick comment. So fetch subreddit data. And then down here, let's see, we are going to make a request to cons. This is kind of long, so you should probably copy this. I'm gonna copy it, and you should copy that too. I'm gonna say res equals await fetch, and here we're going to pass in backticks, and we're going to pass a URL. Let me just bring that URL in. And where is it? Let me see in here. Oh, okay, found it. Wasn't able to find it here. There we go. This is the URL. So I'm just gonna put it in here. Cool. So the only thing we're gonna need to change here is here in the ticker here, in the query parameter, let's delete the word ticker. Let's do $ curly brackets ticker. So we can pass the ticker that we receive here down here, so we can actually fetch the data from there. So what this is going to do, we're going to make a request to the Reddit API, and this is the subreddit. So this is the stocks subreddit. We're going to use this one. If you know of any or prefer any other Reddit subreddit, like the Wall Street Bets, you can use that one, or any other one that you might like. You can also make multiple requests if you want, but I think for now, this is just fine. So we're gonna use the /search to send a query parameter to search for the ticker. And we're going to limit that to 11. And we're gonna sort that by new. And we're going to restrict this to only fetch search information inside of this subreddit, because by default the search is going to be in any subreddit. So this is necessary just to make sure we search this exact subreddit. So cool. Let's see. So for now we need to keep it here and pass the options object here, and we need to send the headers for this one as well. And we're going to set the authorization here. And this time is a bearer token. And we're going to pass the access token here. And let's make sure this is spelled correctly. Sometimes I misspell this a lot. Where is it? Where's the type? B-E-A, there we go. Yeah, that's fine. Let me spell this a lot. All right, so this is good. We should be getting a response from this. So we're just going to say that this is going to be our subreddit data equals await res dot JSON, and we're just going to console log the subreddit data. And let's scroll all the way down, save this file, and refresh this page. Let me open this a little bit here so we can see it, just in case there's a lot of data here. And we're getting a error here. Let's say to digest something, syntax token, JSON.parse, async sentiment, unexpected token. Let's see what it says down here. Something else. Okay, something went wrong here. Let's wrap this into a try catch, which I forgot. So I'm going to just highlight everything inside of the function, cut it, try catch, put everything inside of the try, and let's do error, console.error save it, format this, and let's see if we get any more information here. Oh, okay, wait, now we got some data. What's going on here? Syntax error, JSON token, not about JSON. Where is this coming from? Sentiment, line 33. Actions, 33. So from this call, maybe. Okay, fine. It looks like we're getting the data here. Kind listings, that's the name for the data that we're getting. These are the listings, and then we have data, then we have children, and in children we have objects with that information that we need. So let's console log subreddit data dot data dot children square brackets 0, save it. We'll have to refresh. Error again. Okay, so it's not valid, it's JSON. Okay, what is going on here? Let's see if I can, this is undefined, but this is fine. We can ignore that for now. What's going on? Let me see. I don't see anything on that line. Refresh. Okay, now we got the data. Okay, we got to figure that out. But let's look at the data. So let me close this up so you can see even more of the information there. So if I scroll all the way to the top, looks like, what is going on? Is this repeating? Okay, so where's the top? In here. So kind T3 data subreddit, we're getting it from the stocks subreddit. And then we have something called the self text, which is the actual text here. And we need to make sure we have something that has to do with the ticker that we're looking for. So Apple. So it says this is this is the daily discussion. They have a daily discussion. So if you go to that subreddit in here and refresh, they have some ping messages here. So this is the weekend discussion. So if you look at the title in here, it says Stocks and Daily Discussion Fundamentals Friday, November 8. So where's this one? November 9. Okay, so this one didn't have anything to do with Apple. So maybe it's getting the previous one. Okay. Yeah, but sometimes we have to take that into account that there's some ping messages there that we need to maybe skip. But sometimes they're also useful in there if they do have information and people are discussing the stock that we want to get information from. So in here somewhere there has to be something about Apple. But let's try to console log the next one. Let's do index 1, save it, open this up, scroll all the way down. We got to figure out what's going on when we refresh. See, I got the same message, but we got the information here. So here, does anyone have any info, global sub, and Apple expand the partnership? Okay, so this is the same subreddit. We see the Apple ticker here. So there is some information here that we can use to get the sentiment, see how people are feeling about the stock, and basically what we need would be the subtext, of course, because this is all the information or the post, and then we need the title also. Let's grab the title. So go global store and Apple expanded partnership. That's the title, and this is the information that we need to analyze. Cool. So let's see. We can skip like the first one because the first one is that ping post that we saw earlier. And there's more information here. I think we could check if it's ping by checking if is stick. I think there is a value here that we can check. And let me find that. About subreddit public. Oh, there's more down here. Visited. No, that's not what I want. Spoiler false. Where are you? There we go. Here. So you see this one says false, but if we go and print the first one again, index 0, save it, refresh one more time, that should be true. Down here, let me look for a true value. Maybe I can find them more quickly like this. No, I don't see it. Stick visited. True here. Visited. Oh, this one is false. Okay, so no, is that the value? No, it looks like that's not the value. Visited. I'll find it and cross. Make sure we got the one. But no, I think we actually want this because there's some good information here. So that's if we don't want I don't think we need to do that in this app because this is still good information that we're getting there. So let's keep going for now. So right now we have the data, but this is just one of those objects. So let's go down here and let's prepare our data. So prepare data in here. So we're going to prepare the data for sending it to OpenAI. Cool. Down here, we are going to say, what are we going to call this? So let's just call this cons post or post to analyze or something. And let's map over this. So we're going to say subreddit data dot children dot map. We're going to grab each post. And for each post, let's go in. Let's just go in here. Let's say return an object. And the object that I want to return is just the title. So we're just transforming the data with map. So I want to return an object with the title, which is t.title. And we're going to do self text is going to be p.self text, I think is spelled the same. I have to double check that. This is the HTML version. We want self, everything is lowercase here. So this is lowercase. All right, so we got that there. And we're going to use our post here that we prepare in order to make the sentiment analysis. So here we're gonna do post sentiment analysis. And in here, we are going to, since we have a few, right? We have right now, I set the limit to 11, thinking I was going to skip the first one so I can get 10. So you can just set this to 10 or more or less, up to you. And then we're going to go in here and let's say const post sentiment equals to await. And let's use the promise.all method. So we can go in here and we can map over posts. And for each post again, we are going to do the following. Cool. So we are going to create a prompt which is going to be used to make the API request to OpenAI. So we're going to say const prompt equals backticks. And here we're going to say you are, what would I have in mind? Now let's just say your task is to analyze the sentiment of the following text and classify it as positive, negative, or neutral. Cool. So this is the task for the model, and we're gonna say you will be provided with a title and a let's just call this, so this is the self text. This is the self text. I think I want to change this name to content. Yeah, I think that would be easier for the model. So content. You will be provided with a title and a content. You will be provided with a title and a content. I think that's fine. Let's say analyze both the title and the content. Before let's say, I want to say, because I wanted to, like, you will be provided with a title and content. Analyze both the title and the content before analyze before analyzing the sentiment. I think that will work. Let's see. Okay, so now we're going to provide it. So we're going to say in here, in an object, we're going to say title, and we're going to pass the p.title, and then we're going to say content, and then we're going to provide the p.content. Cool. Then at the bottom, the last thing we're going to type in here will be to say do not add any other do not add any other extra information. Just provide the sentiment. And I'm just doing this because I just want to give me back the word either positive, negative, or neutral, and that's all I want. If you want to get more information, you can remove this line, but I just want this to give me back the sentiment and the sentiment only. If I wanted to get something else, I'm gonna do it in another request, and that's just the way I'm designing it. You can do it a little bit different if you want later on, but for now, let's follow along. So we just have the same code. Cool. So we got the prompt. Now we have to make the request. So we're still inside of the map, right? I don't think I need the prompt in here inside of the map. Yes, I do, because I need to pass every single one. Yes, I do. So keep that there. Yeah, we can keep everything here. I wanted to do separate functions, but I think this is not too long. We're still at 70 lines. Okay. So okay, let's just make the actual call. So const, let's just call this completion equals await, and then we need OpenAI. Did we set up OpenAI? No, we didn't. So we imported OpenAI, but we need to do const OpenAI equals is a new OpenAI, and then we need to pass our process. Wait, how do we did that? In prediction, if we go to not the page but the action get prediction, I'm just gonna grab this here. Thank you so much, and put that in here. Cool. So we need this OpenAI to actually make the call here. OpenAI dot completions dot create dot create, and then we need to pass an object here, and we need to set the model. We're gonna use GPT dash 40 dash mini. You can use any other model if you want to spend more money. I don't, so I'm just gonna do messages here, and we're going to pass the array of messages, and the only message that I'm sending now will be we need to set the message in an object, and we need to say row, what are the quotes here, row, and then the row is user, and the content is going to be the prompt. Cool. You can also set like the temperature, and temperature I'm just gonna keep, you can keep it as 0 if you want. What's going on here? Model, no value, access scope, shorthand, temperature. Oh, temperature. Wait, what's going on? Cons, declare never read. Await expressions only allow in async functions. Okay, so we need to make sure this function in the map is a async function. So we're gonna wrap this p in parentheses and mark this as async. Model messages. I think this is fine. Let's just try to run with this. Let's leave the temperature out because I'm gonna keep it at the default anyways, so we don't need to increase that temperature. We don't want the model to come up with something else or to have any creativity. We don't need that. So we're just going to go and say const sentiment equals completion dot choices square bracket 0 dot a message dot content. This is where the actual content is. 0 message in here, and then console log sentiment. Okay, so what's going on here? Message does not accept type completion choice. So completion that choices square bracket 0 message that content. Okay, maybe this is because of this error here. Row is a string, content is a string. This is a string. And what's the problem here? Okay, just throw me an error. Let's just try to refresh the page. So save the file and refresh. And I gotta open the terminal here, scroll all the way down. Recognize request supply messages. Okay, so what is going on? What am I doing wrong? Okay, so we are making the request, but I'm making a error here. What's going on? And let me just compare this again real quick. Completion, OpenAI.chat.completions. So that's probably it. Yep, chat.completions. Thank you. You should say that in the error message. Let's open this up again and refresh. Okay, so we got a response. Everything is neutral here because it looks like our values are not going through. Sentiment, neutral, we got the content. All right, let's do something real quick. Let's go and set this to just 1 for now, so we don't do this 10 times every time we refresh. And something was undefined here. So pose, let's console log our pose here. Pose. And refresh should be only 1 now, should be easy to follow. Title undefined. Okay, here's the problem. I'm here, pose undefined. So here, when we map over children, we still have to do p.data.title and p.data.self-text. That's a lot of data. Sorry about that. Let's refresh and see if we're getting somewhere. Okay, so in here we have some information. And right now it says we have some title and content. And then we have neutral, and then the sentiment is positive. Okay, so cool. We got some information back. We're gonna see everything that we're getting in here. So right now we are fetching two, right? So one is neutral, one is positive, but it still gave me the whole entire sentence. We need to maybe work on that prompt to make sure we give the model an example of how we want the information. Cool. So right now we're getting the prediction, and prediction, we need to maybe model this a little bit more to get the actual consistent response. So let's try to just add in here. Here is an example of the response you should provide, and then we're just going to type positive and save it. Cool. Let's see if this helps the model to just provide what we're asking for. Let's refresh. Okay, there we go. We got neutral, and now we got positive. So that helped the model to just give me what I'm asking for. Beautiful. So that is a one prompting, right? We just giving one example there. Cool. So now we got the information. So feel free to read the information, see how accurate this is. The first one looks like it was neutral. This one was positive. So we're going to continue with this. And let's just return in here the post. So post. Or not post, the yeah, so I want to return what information do we need. Yeah, let's just return all the posts and sentiment. But here, let me see, we're still inside of the map. So in here, I don't want all the posts, I just want the posts, or the P here for now, and the sentiment, and that is going to be what gets a return, right? Yeah, let's do that for now. So we're gonna keep it in here, and we're going to decide if we need to pass any other information. We got some stuff here to work on TypeScript too, so we'll come back to that. So let's just do, we're returning the post and the sentiment. That should be returned here. So now after this closes, we can return. Let's console log it just to make sure this looks good. So we're gonna console log post sentiment and let's also return it in here. We can keep that console log. We can comment that out because we're gonna see the response anyways. Open this up one more time, and now let's refresh again. Okay, so what do we got here? All right, so we got the title, the content, and the sentiment positive. And here we got the title and content and the sentiment neutral. Good, that's what we want, right? Because now we can return this to the front end, and the front end is already receiving it and console logging it here. We can see it here, the content, the title, and sentiment. So this is already being returned. We can comment this out. We can save this. We can go back to the page, And this is already being console log here. So this is what we're getting. We're getting this array here. So now all we need to do will be to like map over the response and render that information here. But that is not really all we need to do for the user, because yes, we're providing some information to our user saying, hey, we found 10 posts and they're positive and some of them are neutral, some of them are negative. So they could use that to see the sentiment and go from there. But we can do a little more. We can make another request to just let the model give them a response and maybe a quick summary too. But that's basically up to you. If this is everything you need, you'll be fine. But then in the next video, we can make this a little bit more useful for the user, because right now all we need to do probably will be to like map over this. Down here we could just say diff, we could just have this here, and we could say something like actually let's put this into the state. So we're gonna bring this in now. We're gonna call this function down here. We're gonna pass the response and we're going to map over this. So if this is true, we're going to do that map. Actually, we can just initialize this to a array, because now we know we're getting an array. If sentiment.length greater than 1 and map, we're gonna grab a sentiment. That's fine. We can keep it a sentiment for now, and we're going to return a div. Oops. Div. Oops. Close it. Div. And here we're gonna put an h2 with sentiment the title. I need curly brackets for that. And then we need down here sentiment that content. And sentiment. Yeah, I'm gonna change that variable name because that's a lot of information there. What is this here? Key prop. We don't have a value right now. We can just wrap this into parentheses, check in the index, and pass the key prop here, and pass index for now. What is this here? Does not exist on type never. Let's just save it, format this, and see that we get a bunch of errors. And cannot read properties undefined, reading length. What are we doing wrong? Stay connected. Again, length is not as fine. Why are you messing with me today? Your sentiment.map is not a function. Is this not being set to a function? I mean, to an array. This is an array. So what are we doing? Post. Oh, wait, no. What is going on? What is this name doing here? That is so weird. Why is it sentiment result? What happened with this name? I didn't notice. What happened here? Sentiment result. At what point did this change? Maybe that's the problem? No, that's not the problem. All right, after refreshing, it just gave me the data. Not sure what was going on. I think it just needed a quick refresh. So everything is still the same. Now we're able to map over the data in here, and right now we are displaying the information, not very lovely, but everything is in there. We have the title, we have the content, and here we have the sentiment. Now we definitely need to display that better, and this is not everything we need to do, but if this is everything you need, let's say, to display the information, all you need to do is just style this a little bit better for the user to know that this is the title, this is the content, this is the sentiment, and they able to see multiple posts being analyzed so they can make the decision. But in the next video, we're going to go a step further and let the model get the, so if we fetch 10, we're going to let the model analyze all the posts, all the sentiment, and give us back a general sentiment about the ticker of our choosing. All right, so that's it for this video. I will see you in the next one, and thank you for watching.